Okay.
Well, the week is come and gone, and we are now post-New Moon. And New Moon, which, by the way, shattered, well, I don't know if shattered, but it is now the #1 grossing opening day movie, and it beat out Dark Knight. But it was number 3 as far as the entire weekend, as far as grossing film. So not bad for the New Moon cast. But now that we sit here, after last week's discussion, isn't it safe to say that I'm more right than you guys were?
No.
Was this definitely not as good as you guys built it up to be?
I feel like I'm in between you two now. I think I should be sitting actually in between at this point because I thought that it was good for the Twilight movie, but as a critic, like in my review, gosh, I had to rip that thing apart.
Right.
Because there's so many things wrong with it. But as a fan, I loved it. And Taylor Lautner wasn't half bad in it, but we'll talk about that.
Which half?
Well,
yeah. And I think we all kind of agreed, though, because I even said that in my review, that it's a movie for the fans. You know, I didn't like it because I'm not a fan of the movie. You know, but 800 screaming tweens can't be wrong.
Nope.
You know, they can't be. And you really liked it.
Yeah, I did.
Even critically.
Yeah, I did. I mean, just pleasantly surprised. As a critic looking at it for the franchise that it's become, I have to give it a little bit better better point of view or review or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
I don't know. I liked it better, and I thought it lived up to the book, and it didn't stray away. And like I said in my review, that it adapted where it needed to adapt, and it stayed the same where it needed to stay the same. And the special effects were 100% better, I have to say, in my opinion.
Now, what worked best in this film? Maybe
what worked best?
Yeah, as far as because we talked about the forest scene in the first one, which was terrible.
Oh.
What really because you were hoping that the meeting with Darth Vader and the Supreme Jedis, or whatever that stupid scene was with the
Jane and the Volturi.
Yeah, you said that had to be the pivotal point of this movie. Did they live up to that?
I enjoyed it a lot.
Oh, that was one of my favorites.
They added so much more,
it was so much better.
It stayed true, which was exactly what it needed to be, because if it was just a random scene with, I don't know, a lightsaber fight in there for some odd reason,
right.
then I'd be like, this isn't staying true to the book in any way. But even though there was a fight, which there wasn't in the book, it still fit in so well that
it didn't take away from the story at all. It was just, that was, whenever I say special effects, that was the scene that came to mind the most, was because there was so much special effects in it with the speed of the fighting and all that. And I'm just praying that if they go to Breaking Dawn, that they adapt it the same way.
Exactly.
Yeah, the new one is Eclipse.
Yeah.
Right. Are we going to see more of them? Because I liked them, those guys, the Jane character and those people. I like them. I hope they're the basis of the... I'd like to see them do a whole spin-off on those guys, because that was the only part of the movie, which I said in my review, that was any good. The rest of it was just boring as anything for me.
See, I disagree. And New Moon's one of my favorite books.
And so when they got to the point where, Jacob does his transformation and they go to that meeting, that's when it picked up for me, and I'm hoping to see more of that. But not having read the books, I don't know if we get that or not.
Actually, I talked with Charlie Bewley about that, but didn't get written into the interview, so you're hearing it right now, everybody.
Scoop.
I know. He said that in the third movie, he has more of a cameo, like the Volturi have a cameo in this one, but the fourth one, oh dear God, I hope it happens. If they do the fourth one and everything, they're going to have a way bigger part in it, so you'll get your Volturi fix.
Right, I will.
But not in the third one.
Yeah, and you got to think they will. I mean, if this one would have bombed or been worse than New Moon...
You mean Twilight?
Worse than Twilight. I think maybe, the third one's in production, but maybe not a fourth one. But I think the success of this one, if they can carry that momentum, there has to be a fourth one. I mean, they would be stupid not to do the fourth one.
Unless they adapt it to where it could all be in one.
Oh, you mean do one final... Combine the 3 and 4th book into the third one?
I mean, I could see that happening, because the material, although, like you were saying, it just seemed really long and slow build up. If they could just combine that energy that they have into a much smaller time frame, they could definitely fit the two.
They could do that. I just hope that if they do decide to go that route, that it's not so bare bones, because they could easily make it just a quick little story, but there's so much meat to it that the fans love, that I loved about it. Yeah. I just hope they don't cut so much out that it's just so basic that it's not fun anymore.
True.
Right. Interesting.
And I didn't think it was slow at all.
No?
I wanted to cut you off and just interrupt you one more time.
That's fine.
But I didn't think it was slow.
Because you didn't think it was slow.
Mm-mm.
We even talked about that after the movie.
Yeah, I was appreciating all the build-up, because you're learning so much about the characters, because The
No,
werewolf. I disagree because the
Well, you've read
werewolves
the
were
books, so
hardly
you know
introduced
that.
in Twilight. Though, if you go back to just Twilight the movie,
Yeah.
they were
Right.
not hardly at all in that.
Which
at
they were
all.
supposed to have a little bit more because they really had to pick up where they left off with the werewolves because they never mentioned them in the first.
Right, but the whole scene after scene of her pining and being depressed, I understand teen heartbreak, but scene after scene of that, and then the flashbacks or the scenes with Edward appearing to talk to, that was so bad, and it was so unnecessary.
It's in the book.
It was so, but it didn't transpire to the screen. It cheesed the movie up.
I disagree.
And I think the other characters, like the
disagree.
blonde chick that's her friend, and the Asian people that are
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like they just tossed them in.
Well, that's
with
what they're
nothing.
supposed to. Well,
They could have wrote them completely out of this film, and it'd been fine. Every scene that they were in seemed forced, badly acted, and I think they should have just got rid of them. to
Well,
begin
their
with.
relationship at that point with Bella and her human friends is so forced anyway, so it's supposed to translate like that on the screen. And the
But you
entire
can still act.
Jessica, the blonde chick, she did great in her role. I thought she was hilarious being the stupid, vapid.
and I just saw a preview today for a new movie with her and George Clooney, which of all people I would have never pictured her
Well,
with.
maybe she'll have a better script to work with.
Yeah, well, whatever. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not falling into that trap.
Whatever.
But no, I just am totally on a different side of the story with you.
And that's fine. And that's
totally
what's
disagree.
great about us all three talking.
No,
about
it's
that.
not. I'm right. You're wrong.
Because if I was sitting here
I
just
can't be
saying
the
it's
mediator.
bad, then I think it would be a jaded perspective. But the fact that, and you guys have the voice of the fans, and and my purpose is to say if you don't know anything about the movie, or the characters, or the books, you're going to hate this film. And I think that's the bottom line.
Hate? Really?
Hate.
Because I don't think so.
Well, if you're not a fan or don't have any knowledge of what the books are about, then you might be kind of confused, like, why in the world is she so sad?
Right.
Why in the world is she so moody?
And if
blah,
you've
blah,
paid
blah.
$45 to go to this film with your family, you're
yeah.
going to hate it.
Yeah.
If you don't understand, if you just shelled out
why
almost
Netflix is
$50 for this, you're going to hate it. So I'm just saying. So
That's
anyway,
true.
but you know, it was a success. I'm glad you guys liked it from fans' perspective because I think that's the most important thing. So,
Completely.
Yeah. So New Moon out. Check it out if you haven't already. If you're a fan, obviously you've already gone and maybe 20 times already. And if not, I wouldn't even worry about it. So
We've been 3 times.
3 already? Are you serious?
Yes.
Cow.
Wow.
Okay, we went to the screening, and then the next day I went to the midnight showing, and then yesterday I went with some of my friends.
All right. That's fine. I'm not judging.
I saw that.
I'm a fan, but dang, you're committed.
We're going to kind of change gears a little bit coming up in the show in the next segment. We're going to talk about our top 5 favorite holiday films as we get ready for Thanksgiving and Christmas because that's coming up right around the corner
Yes, it
as we
is.
gear up. So we'll be back with more on The Mongol Show.